Welcome back to another episode of Sport Exposure Podcast. We are providing a safe space for student athletes, both past, present, and future. Today we have a very special guest, former MLB player, Wayne Gomes. Welcome.
Hey, Kay, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell them about yourself.
Tell them about myself?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure you already know, Kay, but we'll tell the people.
This is for the people.
This is for the people. I'm from Hampton. I'm a Phoebus grad.
7'5",
7'7", born and bred. Went to Phoebus. Didn't know there was another high school in the area, but apparently there's some other schools. But I went to Phoebus, the only one I know of. That's where all the athletes and ballers come from. 100 Ireland. What? Where were we? So went to Old Dominion. Did pretty well at Old Dominion. First round draft pick by the Philadelphia Phillies in 1993. Played a couple years in the minor leagues. Made my debut in 1997. 98, 99, 2000, 2001. 2001, I was traded to San Francisco. Played with the Giants. I was on the team when Barry Bonds broke the record for home runs. Was a free agent, signed with the Red Sox, and next year I was in Boston. And after that, kind of chilled out, retired, and came home. Okay. Well, I did some little things here and there.
Okay.
And now I started some business in town.
I was going to say, what do you do now?
What do I do now?
Yes.
I do a lot. I have a training facility called Virginia Baseball Academy that is on LaSalle and Armstead, attached to the YMCA. That kind of runs itself, and I had after that, I transitioned to a program called Ethos, called Empowered in Healing Ourselves, where we did crisis stabilization. So kids that were in crisis, we helped them out. We went and gave them the treatment they were looking for. That was a state licensed program. Transitioned to that, to an after-school program, to a alternative suspension program called Ethos as well. And kids that were suspended from Hampton City Schools, instead of going home, they came to my program. So They would get bused to my facility. We put them through, gave them the academic. We had teachers and gave them mental health therapy and treatment so they wouldn't repeat the same behaviors that they had repeated, to get them suspended. So when they came to my program, I had the option of reducing their suspension if they were compliant, if they did their homework and they were receptive. If they had gotten into a fight or altercation, I would have both parties there, and we would kind of work out what they had done, so they would get back into school. They wouldn't repeat the same behavior. Okay. I noticed in that program the kids were a little older, and I wanted to kind of get those kids where they were younger. So I started another program that was similar, and that's called PAL, Police Athletic League. Now, PAL has been around for hundreds of years. Some notable.
Hundreds?
Maybe 100. Okay, not hundreds. Maybe not 3.
Hundreds is a little much.
Well, thank you for correcting me. Hundreds is a little much. I'm gonna have to look that up. We'll fact check. I hope it's at least 200. So when we come back and
we talking 1,800.
That's what we said.
That's what you said. Hundreds. Anyways, you're big on community give back. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Is that what you heard, or did you hear hundreds? I mean, tell me exactly what you heard. But anyway, where were we? So PAL's been around for a while. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so it just so happened that the vice president of PAL, Police Athletic League, lived in my neighborhood. And so we got to be, friends socially. And I saw my Ethos alternative suspension program. I saw what I wanted to do wasn't quite as effective as I wanted to, because the kids were older. And so I wanted to start a program similar that was for kids that were younger. So we started PAL, and he kind of walked me through it. He told me what to do, told me how to start the board. He gave me all the things to do. I met with the existing police chief and city manager, and they were all on board, what I was doing. And the program took off. So I was funded a grant by the city of Hampton, and I worked with the city of Hampton hand in hand.
Shout out to you.
And thank you. And I work directly with police officers. So the program is designed to connect kids, cops, in the community. So we want for the young people to have a better understanding of what the role of law enforcement is, instead of just thinking cops are bad. If you watch social media enough, if you watch the news enough, they don't ever talk about when a cop runs into a burning building or was the first responder, right, or no anything good. They always talk about when cops are doing something wrong. and rightfully so, it's news. When you do it right, it's your job, and when you do something wrong, it's news. So so when you see the news and you see social media, the situation kind of gets exasperated, and you kind of have a bad perception of what law enforcement does. And I'm here to change that.
We need that in our community.
In some of the situations, are rightfully so, they are bad cops, and I don't tell the kids that all cops are good. I just don't, because I don't believe that.
That's another topic for another podcast.
Okay, you're right.
For a whole other podcast.
Yes, I know.
So we're gonna get back to it.
Okay.
Very intensive background in the community. Here at Sport Exposure, we're all about safe space for student athletes, past, present, and future. Our motto is celebrating triumphs and learning from defeats.
Okay.
So when you think about your journey as a student athlete to professional to collegiate, what comes to mind when you hear celebrating triumphs and learning from defeats?
Ooh, celebrating triumphs. And we're going to be transparent because I know you, and you've always been straight with me.
This is for the student athletes.
This is for the student athletes. I'll tell some of the mistakes I've made. And my triumphs was definitely getting drafted first round pick, being a first round pick. That was kind of, the icing on the cake, all the hard work. But along the way, there was a lot of goofy stuff I did.
You care to share?
I'll share. It's
because essentially this is the blueprint for student athletes to know what to do and what not to do.
All right, so I'll give this example. Because I don't want to hold anything back from kids, because I don't want to even I don't want anybody to feel like I'm perfect, not to make mistakes. So I'll give you one example. I was a sophomore in college. And my roommate, best friend, just got off the phone with him. He was a junior in college. He was an engineering major. Okay. And I had a scholarship. We had been best friends in high school. Known him forever, played baseball together. He actually convinced me. He was one of the people that convinced me to go to Old Dominion. And I had a scholarship, and I was getting my books for free. And he was like, he didn't have, we both grew up with not much. We weren't poor, but, my parents worked 2 and 3 jobs, to get us where we were, his books were expensive. My books were free. So I was like, he's like, hey, man, you can get these books for me. So I got the books for him on my scholarship, right? I think I did it a couple of times. They ran an audit. On the books. And they looked at my classes and the books I had, and it did not match. It don't matter, The math won't math, right? The math won't math. So they called me in, and this is doing right in the middle of the season. We were playing UNC that day. I'll never forget. My coach says, "Hey, look, the athletic director wants to see you. There's something." It's like, and so AD calls me in. Obviously I try to back my way out the story, and he wasn't buying it. And he said, I'm taking your scholarship away. And you have to have this money back before you throw another pitch on this baseball team.
Of books? Books are expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the game started in 3 hours. The game started was about 3 or 4 hours away. So came up with the money.
In 3 hours?
I did. I came with the money. Went to my boy's mom, she did me for the books. And we made it work. I did lose my scholarship that year. But things got worked out. Nothing illegal again, but they got worked out. But it was a mistake. And they could have taken it another step further. They could kick me out of school. They could have gone public. They could have really, made it bad. My coach was upset. Yeah. So, but if they would have done all that, then where would I be? Where would I be if they would have just?
They would have changed the whole.
It could have changed
everything.
It could have changed everything. So I was listening to the coach from Florida. Just the other day, I was watching the Tim Tebow special on Netflix. Did you see that? It's really good. It's called Untold Stories. And they were talking about all the crime they had on the team. They were talking about all the crime they had on the team. What do you do with these players? They actually had one year 54 arrests. Aaron Hernandez was on the team, Tim Tebow.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You got to watch it. And he said, what do you do with these players when they get in trouble? He says, kicking them out the program is not an option. He said, kicking them out the program is not an option. He said he did that one time. A kid hit a girl. He had hit his girlfriend. and he kicked him out the program. And he said couldn't find another school to go to, and the kid ended up killing himself 2 years later, because he didn't have anything. And he in Urban Meyer was talking. He said after that, that's just not an option. That's just not an option. I might suspend you. I might do something, but I'm not kicking you to the curb. I mean, if they would have kicked me to the curb, I don't know where I'd be. So I'm always grateful for that.
So we're going to count that as a learned defeat.
We're going to count that as a what?
A learned defeat.
Okay. That's what we're going to call it?
That's the question.
Learn defeat.
That's in the question. We was talking about celebrating triumphs and learning from
so
defeat.
my triumph was end up being drafted first round, fourth pick overall. And the defeat was one of those things along the way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me first say, make sure y'all are commenting, subscribing, Sport Exposure Podcast, Sport Exposure Pod on all networks. Before we get into it now, beyond your athletic achievements, who is Wayne Gomes?
Family, man. I love my family. I put that. I get more joy out of that than anything. Is there smirk?
Have you always been this way?
Yeah.
Even as a student athlete, as an athlete?
When I didn't have a family? Oh yeah. Well, but just a different kind of family. It was just my mom and dad. So yes, everything has been, the base has been mom and dad and my sister. And as I got older, had my own family, my base and foundation is all I'm coming back to has always been, my wife and children. So, and I love working with other young people. I get a joy out of that. Adults, take them or leave them. Most of the time their parents, take them or leave them. I wish they could just stay where they're at. But the kids, I enjoy it. I like working with kids who understand I have something to give them and something to offer, and then looking to receive it. When I have something to give you and you're making it difficult for me to give it to you, I'm like, look, I don't have to do this. You know what I'm saying? So it becomes frustrating. But when kids want what I have to give them and want to take it and run with it, hey, look, you got me.
So where did the drive and the want to give back to the community and other student athletes come from?
The drive, that's two different questions. The drive came from mom and dad. I just watched them people grind every day, not athletically, but just grind to feed my sister and I. Just so make sure we never wanted for anything.
Went without.
I never went without. Never asked for, never went without. We thought we was rich because every time we got something, every time we wanted something, we got it. Mm-hmm. But that came with a price. That came with a cost. Good grades, no cutting up, no doing what you're told,
You didn't cut up?
Oh. No, and I was afraid of mom and dad. No, I didn't do a whole bunch of cutting up. I wasn't perfect, but I definitely was not, You
knew what to do.
I knew who I did. I knew what not to do. I knew I didn't want that smoke. So,
for sure.
So I did not want that smoke. So it wasn't worth it. So, with the drive, and what else was part of the question?
Your urge to give back to the community, because you were telling what you do now. It seems like you do a lot of nonprofit work.
Okay. I just think, I really believe as I got older, I have an assignment. Your
purpose.
I have a purpose. I have an assignment, and I have a gift. And my gift just wasn't throwing a baseball. Okay, my gift was to throw a baseball for several years. Okay, and then show somebody else how to throw a baseball. And if it's not baseball they're interested in learning, it's help them be in a place where they can have success, like somebody helped you. And I enjoy it. And it seems like when I do that, I never want for anything. It's like, I never do it for, it's rewarding. I never want for money. And I think if I stay within my assignment, money
right.
Yeah, everything's gonna be paid and everything's gonna be taken. Everybody's gonna be happy.
Walking in your calling.
Yeah. So I tell all the kids that work for me, I said, look, don't, and it's tough for them to understand this. Don't choose a job profession based on money. Choose something that you love doing, and be great at it.
Right.
Choose something that you love doing. If you're a barbershop, if you're a barber, cut Drake's hair. If you're a DJ,
right.
If you're a DJ, be Kid Capri. Just be the best at it, and then you'll get all the money worth. And if you don't like school and you want to be a lawyer because you get paid and you go sit in the courtroom all day and you just hate it, you're not going to be good at it. Because it's not something you enjoy doing. So find something if you like to rap. You know what I'm saying? Be the best at it. And I mean, look, there's a million wannabe rappers out there, and I'm not sure that's for everybody. But I'm saying if you're good, just perfect it.
So I really want to take a time to highlight, you said finding your love outside of throwing the baseball.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of student athletes struggle trying to find what else they're good at, what they like to do outside of that. So talk me through that journey of trying to figure out what else Wayne was good at.
Like I said, it wasn't what I was good at. It was just like what I enjoyed.
So did you have to try different things to understand that, though, or did it come overnight? Did you wake up and say,
"No"? I'm more than an athlete. I'm more than a baseball player. My career was kind of winding down. I can see it. It ain't that hard to see. Some people, some players' career, you're almost over, and all of a sudden it spikes back up, and you find a new pitch, or you find something that you never did before, and now you're back on top. That's a rarity. That really is a rarity. And like I said, as I saw my career kind of winding down, I thought about what my next interest would be. I thought about what I wanted to do. It was train baseball, and it became easy to me. Now what was not easy for me was the business aspect. Because you played baseball does not mean you're gonna have a good baseball business. It doesn't. It really has.
That's something we miss.
The two sides really have nothing to do with each other. And I'll tell you how I realized that. One, because I failed a business early on. And two, I saw people running baseball businesses that didn't know jack about baseball. And I'm like, this guy, he was my mentor in business after I wasn't doing so well. And I hated talking baseball with him because he liked baseball.
There's a difference.
But he knew nothing about baseball. And I understand my baseball IQ is higher than most.
Right.
I get that. Okay. But I really was uncomfortable talking baseball with him because he was so, he didn't know. Now.
Ignorant.
Yes. I didn't want to call me ignorant.
I mean,
but it's
the lack of knowing.
Yeah, he was. So it wasn't comfortable for me. Now, for him, probably talking business was uncomfortable for him because he was such a good businessman. Actually, his background was in the correction. He was a correction officer at a prison for years, and he decided, he knew business. He studied and had some success, and he's killed. And he still does. He's killing the game, and he knows nothing about baseball, but he knows business. He counts every penny. He knows his customer base. He's really good at it. He's really good at it, but he don't know baseball. So the two don't.
Sports business and playing sports are two totally different playing fields, y'all.
So here's I can give you another example, and I'll leave his name out because it's very popular. Actually, he's on ESPN a lot. He's a really good friend of mine. I was actually in his wedding, but he went to Ivy League school. Okay, he was very, very, very smart, very good baseball player too. But after he finished his baseball career, he decided to go into a engineering, developing crazy houses or something like that. But he was smart, but he wasn't a businessman. I think he was like an engineer or something like that. And he failed miserably. And he was the smartest guy I ever played with. Like speak 3 or 4 languages.
To Ivy League, obviously.
He went to Ivy League. He was really smart. But he didn't know business. No, he was smart in books, but he didn't know business. And he failed. And I'm like, if this cat can fail, maybe business ain't for nobody,
Right.
Now he bounced back, that was 10, 15 years ago. He bounced back and now he's killing on ESPN. He's found his lane. And he might be doing some business and he might be using those failed experiences to further on whatever business it is. I mean, when you have experiences like that, you have to, it's expensive. So you have to use it. It's like going to college. Yeah. I'd ask you want to go back and get your master's degree or something, and I could, but I'm learning more from this experience. I've gone to college. I started a couple of businesses. I went to business school. I might not have a degree to show for it, but I've learned, on the job. It was a crash course. So trust me, I've gone to college.
Right. So, how did high school sports experience shape your work ethic and transfer over?
How did high school sports? Well,
because essentially that's where we get our start at. That's
what
we're trying to figure out.
So, well,
If we're going to take it serious or not.
Yeah. Good question. My high school sports, my high school program was not very good at baseball. And I really had to separate myself because now you can go to any good program you want to. You know, when I was in school, if you lived in Phoebus Zone, you was going to Phoebus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so you knew nothing else. So the experience of losing a lot and having to work hard, even though the team doesn't really want to work along with you, and all that experience kind of shaped me, you know, into, because my next level, I'm getting a scholarship to Old Dominion, and it was nothing resembled my experience. It was like a total different experience, and I learned what hard work really looked like.
When you got to college?
Yes, I learned what coaching looked like. I learned all that. So so the work I put in high school just gave me the ability to get in the door to college.
You mentioned a good point. Playing for a team that's not so great. What advice could you give to athletes that have desires to either go professional or go to collegiate? Because when you're playing on a team that isn't that great, it's kind of hard to be noticed. It's kind of harder to set yourself apart. I'm not saying it can't be done, but you really have to take the steps to take your skills serious, take your athletes serious, academics as well. But playing on a team that is not necessarily recognized too often, what advice could you give to our athletes?
You have to have some vision. You have to have a lot of vision. You know, you have to look past where you are right now. And you have to always remember that, look in the camera, if you're watching this, somebody is always watching. You should remember that. And it only takes one person to fall in love with you. You know, and I got drafted in the first round by the fourth pick. Okay. I just needed one person out of all 32 teams in the major leagues to say, this is my guy. You don't have to have, all those guys don't have to say, like, just one person. Right. So somebody's always watching. And if you keep that mindset of somebody's always watching.
People notice that.
Oh yeah. If you're playing like somebody's watching you and evaluating and scouting you, you're always going to be on your toes. You're always going to be busting your butt. Cause like, and if they're videotaping you saying, this is the tape I have, and then there you have it. You know, so you can take that tape and show to somebody, hey, look, this is the guy. He didn't know I was there. Boom, boom. This is how he went about his business. You know, because a lot of coaches, they know what you can do on. They can know what you're doing.
They want to see what you're doing off.
They want you to see off the field. They pregame. How are you a leader? How do people respond to you? You know what I'm saying? Are you a cut up? Are you gonna embarrass my program when you get here? All that stuff has to be put in play. So it's almost like playing with integrity. Integrity means when people aren't watching, what are you doing? So play like somebody's watching you.
At all times.
All times.
You had mentioned not knowing what hard work was until you got to college. And a lot of student athletes struggle with that transition because it's nothing like what we're used to.
Right.
So how did you adjust, and what were some challenges that you had to face going into college?
It was easy for me to adjust because when I got there, you know, our team was full of All-Americans. We had a really good program. And I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be left behind. You know, I'm like, I'm not going to be
everybody good when you go to college.
I'm not on scholarship. I'm not going to be the worst cat here. You know, and I'm like, okay, we had two guys. They were preparing for the draft. No, we had three guys. Three guys. We had 2 first-round picks and a 4th-round pick. And I'm like, I was a freshman. I was 17 years old, and I was like, I want to be him. You know, I want to be that guy. What do I need to do to look like that? You know, I want his spot. I want his time on the mound. So, and I took it one step further. I was better than all of them after 3 years. You know, they were the first round picks, but I was higher, got more money, you know, did better in college, and got a degree. You know.
How was your academics in college?
How was my academic? I was okay.
You was okay.
Yeah,
but you knew just to keep. You had to keep them.
I knew I had to. I knew what I had to do. You know. I wasn't.
And I'm sure did you and your teammates have issues with academics?
My teammates?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. In fact, the guys I'm speaking of, you know, they did so poorly. Like they got drafted their junior year. Okay, they did so poorly. You couldn't come back your senior year.
They had no other option.
They had no other options. You know, I mean,
So that's why you had to throw that in there. That you had to get you got your degree. Because a lot
I came
of
back and got my
baseball
degree.
players don't though.
Yeah, I came back and got my degree. I mean, I didn't come back my senior year. You know, I played ball a year and came back and got my degree. But they didn't have any other options. So, and my coach saw that pattern. And he knew I was gonna be a first round pick, and he had saw what they had done. So he pulled me in for the year before. I said, "Look, man, let me just tell you right now. You know, if you think you're gonna do what boom, boom, boom did this last couple of years, let me just stop you right here before we even think that. You know, you ain't gonna embarrass me. You know. But I think he felt embarrassed by the fact, these kids just let themselves go and just didn't go to class. So let me just get ahead of you here. This is not gonna happen. What they did. So we both learned a lesson. So you're going to class and you're going to do this, and which I never had any intentions of not doing because I owed it to my mom. I owed it to the people. For sure. Somebody's paying. I didn't have a full ride. Somebody's paying. I'm just not going to blow their money. And it served me well. And it served me well because without a degree, I wouldn't have been able to talk to a lot of people. And tell them how the importance of being a student athlete or being asked to speak, or it just puts me in a position to do other things after baseball. So
is it normal for baseball players to finish a degree? Because I know a lot of them get drafted early. I've seen some get drafted out of high school.
Look, I would say 50-50. I don't know numbers, but they make it pretty easy for you. First of all, when you get drafted, they pay for it. Okay. So
they pay for your school.
Okay. So part of my deal was, we'll give you X amount of dollars and we're going to give you X amount of dollars for school.
Did you have to facilitate that yourself, or that was already a given?
No, it's kind of understood.
Okay.
When you get a contract, we'll give you, let's say we'll give you $1 million and we'll give you $200,000 for school. When these kids get drafted out of high school, the teams usually pay for college. So it's there. Right. You just got to take it.
Not everybody takes it.
Not everybody takes it. But it make it easy for you. They make it easy for you. You can do stuff online. You can do stuff here and there.
But you gotta want to do it.
You gotta want to do it.
Just
you gotta want to do
it.
You gotta want to do it. It's got to mean something to you.
Right.
And the teams make it easy for you. They'll give you time. They'll after the season, say something. They'll want you to go They want you to go to a certain place to train. You're like, look, I can't go there because I'm going to school. I'm like, cool.
You leave you alone?
Yeah. As long as you're doing it,
So we talked about your transition from high school to college. Now let's talk about the transition from college into the big dogs, the big leagues. How was it?
It turned into a business real quick. It's a business, and that's the best I could tell you. And a lot of people at that age aren't ready to go into the business world, because you're playing ball, but
getting paid.
Yeah, you're getting paid. And I can't think of any word. It's a business. You're in a business and you have to perform, and people are behind you, just like any other job. Somebody's behind you. They want your spot at every level. And if you're in AA, people in A-ball, hey, they're trying to get to your spot. If you get to the big leagues, you got 5 teams underneath you trying to get to your spot. Getting to the big leagues was tough. Okay, staying in the big leagues is really tough because you're playing against the best and the best, not in the country, in the world. So everybody wants your spot. It's a business, and you can't take none of it personal. If they send you home, they let you go. They try to tell you this. Okay, most of the time it's not personal. Most of the time it's the person who's telling you that is doing their job. They see why covering their butt, and trying to do their job so they can stay and make the paper. Because everybody, coaches in the minor leagues want to get big leagues. Everybody's trying to get to the big leagues. And it's a really small number of spots. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got the roster now is like 25, 26. It was 20, 25. And it's not many spots. And everybody's gunning for them. So it's a business. You got to perform. Can't take it personal. You got to keep your body in shape. You got to play the game. Can't get too high and can't get too low. You stay in the middle. Mm-hmm.
Stay grounded.
Because if you read the paper, you're never as good as they say you are, and you're never as bad as you say you are. So just don't listen. When I was playing, I played in a tough media town, Philly, and after my rookie year, and I would read the papers, when I do good, yeah, and you read bad, and it'll just eat with your psyche. That roller coaster will eat at you. So after my rookie year, I said, I'm not reading this local paper anymore. So if you want to get the news, that's how I picked up USA Today. So I would read the USA. I still to this day read the USA Today every single day if I wanted to know the news, because I knew I would never see my name in there. I knew I would not see my name in there because, I don't want to hear what you think about me. One, you don't know me. Two, you're exaggerating how good I am or exaggerating how bad I am to have a story to make it interesting.
Right.
And I'm not really interested in being the story, whether it be good or bad.
And that's a valid point. When we play sports, any student athlete at any level, we're always under the spotlight. And you mentioned it'll mess with your psyche. So how did you keep your mental health level? Because that's a topic that we're starting to get into from being a student athlete, because we go through a lot. It is a lot. Yep. If I had a bad game, I'm in the paper. If I had a good game, I'm in the paper. Yeah. Yeah. If I didn't do something right, I'm in the paper. So it's kind of like never ending. So how did you keep your mental? Never too high, never too low. That's not it. I need details. And you tell me exactly
that is the details.
That's one of those things that's easier said than done. If we're talking to another student athlete that's trying to adjust to criticism, constructive criticism, you get criticism from all levels of the athlete. You get it from your coaches, you get it from your teachers, your mentors, your admins. How do you?
Well, I don't know how I sold myself on it. Mm-hmm. But that was always my mindset. And I was a reliever, So I pitched. I had opportunity of impacting the game every single day. Now, if you're a starting pitcher, you pitch every fifth day. You have a bad game, you got to sit there for 4 days, and watch film, think about how good or bad you did, and vice versa. If you had a good game, I was great. It was great. But look, that was yesterday. Okay, today's a new day.
Can't change it.
You can't change it. I was just real with myself. That was yesterday. It was a good day. Good. Let's go out there and try to repeat that. Because failure. Every day I read this book called Mental Game of Baseball by Willie Jolly. And one thing I'll never forget is failure is a statistical probability. It's going to happen. Okay. What keeps me driving is the fact I don't like that feeling, and if I ever fail, my saving grace is you did the work. Okay. Yeah. Prepared. Yeah. Watch film. Your body was in shape. You're mentally right. You got your rest. You did all that. If I could do all that, if I could check all those boxes and I failed, hey man, you got me, because I know 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10, I'm going to have success, if I do everything, if I'm prepared, if I'm doing things right. But it's a statistical probability. It's going to happen. Right. So athletes are really trying to avoid that feeling, and that's why we grind, because winning was all right for me. I expected winning was cool. Losing was way worse than winning could ever be for me. Losing just did not sit well with me. Winning, you put a lot of work into you better win. You better have done well. Not necessarily winning or losing. My personal success that day.
Right.
Okay. Doing the job I'm supposed to do, because it's a team sport. This ain't tennis. It's a team sport. I could do great and we still lose. I'm not going to celebrate, but I'm like, okay, good job. Well, you did your thing. You did your thing. We didn't lose because of you. I don't want the team to lose because of me. That's awful.
So since we're here, talk about the importance of teamwork.
Importance of teamwork?
We have a lot of athletes that want to be one for all.
Well, if your desire is to win rings in championships, it's no way possible to do it without that. Mm-hmm. Everybody has to be on the same, have that same mindset. Now that's difficult because in baseball, you have guys in different levels of their career. You have rookies, you have vets, you got that journeyman, and the young guys, most of the time they're just trying to establish themselves. I'm happy to be here and I want to stay here. The guys who gotten paid already, they're looking for rings. They're looking for championships.
For a reason.
Journeyman's like, man, look, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here. Everybody's in a different kind of space. Okay, now when all that comes together, okay, the rookies get paid, and look, we're good. We can contribute just like you guys, these vets, and everybody is on the same page. That's the only time you can even think about winning the championship. That's the only time when everybody is in the same sync. If you got, we used to call it 25 cabs after the game.
That?
25 cabs means at the end of the game, there are 25 guys going different directions.
Oh.
25 players, 25 cabs. And that I played on a team like that.
That ain't gonna get you far.
No, we sucked. We stunk. It was younger players. Nobody got paid. We just trying to pile stats up and have a good game, no matter if we win or lost. When I was in San Francisco, man, eating out together, renting out movie theaters, doing all that. We were trying to win. We were trying to win.
Everybody had the same goal.
Everybody had the same goal. We were doing this together. We all got paid. You know what I'm saying? Some of us had one. Some of us was chasing it. So it wasn't 25 players, 25 cabs. We were. It
was 25 players, one cab.
Yeah. Well, it was two. It was two. Barry's cab and the rest of the team. Barry Bonds.
Well, I mean, we didn't get to that level.
Barry was all right. Barry was all right. He was all right to me. He wasn't all right. He was all right with me.
So we're talking about a lot about mindset shifts and a lot of skills that we learn as athletes. So tell me how. First of all, tell me about a time as an athlete that you had to overcome adversity. Professionally, could be in college, could be in high school.
I had to think about it for a second, but it's really not that difficult. So I'm in the major leagues, and my wife's pregnant. First child in the way, so excited, ready to be a first-time daddy. And Miles was born. And this is August into the season. And my son's born blind. So now I have to, first-time father, and I'm dealing with a sick child. So that was really difficult. And what I realized was the only time I could get away from what I was dealing with my son was the half an hour, 45 minutes, hour I was on the field. Like that's the only time only time it didn't.
Your only outlet.
Only time it didn't eat at me. Like I didn't have that pit in my stomach.
Right.
Where like, what's wrong with you? Like if I'm upset about something, I'm holding on to it because I don't really do a whole bunch of talking when I get upset. I have friends I can confide in, but I typically don't. I just kind of try to figure it out on my own. And I get that pit in my stomach and you're just angry and you're upset. The only time that went away was when I was on the mound. So
how did you get through that time?
How did I get through that time?
Because 30 minutes to an hour out of a 24-hour day, that comes in mental, emotional health.
I don't know if I ever really got through it. I just put my head down and did what it took to get my son better. Whether it was, finding him the best doctor, staying in the hospital with him, moving my family, talking to the team about some time off. I just needed to do something to get this boy right. And when he got right, I got better. As he got right, I found the best doctors. We had to move to Boston. We had to see the doctors literally 7 times every single day, like every single 7 days a week.
Wow, you're still balancing.
Yeah,
being a professional athlete.
So we stayed in a hotel in Boston. The doctors in Philly literally said, we're out of options, and maybe one day he'll see big letters and that was with a cornea transplant. And we're talking about cornea transplant. That doesn't even sound anywhere like, that just sounds like for an infant, that's a lot.
For anybody.
This kid isn't a month yet. The first weeks he had been through like 4 or 5 surgeries, and the first So this is just traumatizing for my family.
Right.
It's just awful.
Right.
Just awful. But you met Miles, so you see him. He's
it all worked out.
Yeah, he's it all worked out. But he was born. He was blind. He had born with glaucoma. So it all worked out.
Back to that situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of athletes that go through stuff behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
And as men, a lot of times you guys don't want to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about those situations or talk through those situations. What advice would you give to student athletes or athletes, period, going through stuff at home, trying to find a release? Because sometimes sports and that ball is not enough. As you said, an hour, half an hour out of a day, out of 24 hours, that's not necessarily enough to keep you level-headed. It worked for you, but it may not work for everybody that's not as mentally strong as you.
Yeah. I guess the best advice, and I do this. You seek help. You seek counsel. Find a therapist and talk it through. I do that now.
I was gonna say, you go to therapy.
Oh yeah. I do it now.
Yes, we stay in therapy. I love my therapist.
And I love mine too. And she gives great advice. And that's not my comfort zone, as we talked about. I'd rather just keep this thing to myself and figure it out on my own. But
I was the same way.
But I'll give myself bad advice. Because that's not mine.
In your head, you probably thought it was good advice, though, huh?
Yeah, it's terrible advice.
You need an unbiased opinion.
Yeah. It's terrible advice. Too many people in there talking to each other up there. It's just like no. I call them the Waynes. It's like 7 Waynes. It's like 7 people. They're fighting each other.
Right.
So seek counsel. Seek counsel.
Y'all hear that? Please say that again for the camera.
Seek counsel.
If you need a therapist, if you're an athlete, go get them.
Hey, look, I give you Dr. Thomas's number in a heartbeat. I mean, she helped me with everything. Situations.
Did it take you a long time to see a therapist? Was it like an adjustment?
Yeah, it ain't something. I mean, I didn't do it when I was playing. This is something I'm doing. Post professional, help me navigate my family, help me navigate. The loss of my mother. My marriage, my issues with my children. Do
you think it would have changed the game for you had you seen a therapist as an athlete?
Yeah, I do.
You got to think about it.
I do, but I don't think. Well, yeah. It definitely might have been.
Now, I understand this is a new generation of athletes.
Yeah,
and a lot of them are as mentally and tough and strong as we are.
Yeah. I do. I never thought about the question. That's why it took me so long. Going through what I went with. I had some support now. I definitely wasn't going through this by alone. My mother and father, were there, and they were a big help. But they just come from a place of love. Not they just have love and support. They can't come from a place of what to do or how to work through this from experience.
And that's where getting an unbiased opinion.
You know what I'm saying? In. So they're just like, I love you, baby. What you need?
Exactly.
You need to come up there. You cook for you. And I had that part. Some people don't. I had that part, and I still do. But far as what you're thinking, here's the advice. This is what we should do, or have you thought about this? Most people don't have that. Most people don't have. Most don't have somebody with a clinical experience to offer that.
I can attest to that. Did you have any coaches or mentors that helped you through along the way?
Oh yeah.
I know myself. I had mentors that are still my mentor that started in high school. I met in high school, middle school, playing basketball. There are still, I call on this, to this day, I call all the time.
My college coach still calls me my birthday every year. In fact, I talked to him just 2 days ago because one of our assistants is really terminally sick. One of our assistants when I was in college is In fact, he's in Jacksonville. I think I might shoot up there to go see him. But he, and the reason why we took so well, and we had such a great relationship, is one, to this day, he's still the best pitching coach I've ever had. And two, probably even more importantly, I was 17 years old, immature 17-year-old.
As those men are.
And he had he cared about me as a person too. He that was a big deal. He talked about it all the time. Please and thank you. How you treat people. He taught you. You got the respect for him when you talk baseball. Listen to him talking and how he taught you and how he went about his business. But the fact that he cared about you as a person and he wasn't going for the BS.
That's one of a million these days.
It mattered too, because my parents were like that, and it was almost like literally my parents handed them off to me. Okay,
that's a blessing, because I always say that coaches are an extension of parents for 4 years.
Yeah, and when you're talking football players, it's 100 kids out there, and your head coach is your head coach. Your head coach might even know your name. I mean, it's he might not know your name. He might know your last name and number. He'll the D coordinator, the coordinator probably know you a little more. Yeah. But the head coach, knowing everybody's all players, 100 players out there's background, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Once again, that's where their business comes in.
It's a lot,
right?
To know that and to be able to do your job, it's a lot. It's a lot. And you don't have so much time in the day. In the expectations are high. So something's got to give. Either your family or your relationship with your players, your health, your mental health. Something's got to give. Right. You know what I'm saying? And you got to win.
To that point, let's talk about balance.
Who? Balance. Uh-huh.
So you became a first-time father while you were still in the league. You were married. So where and how did you find that balance? Or did you have a balance outside of baseball? Because sports can consume pretty much your entire day if you let it. Life.
It probably wasn't a balance, okay?
That's
during the season, okay? But I made up for it when I wasn't playing. So there's an off season, obviously. And I made sure that all the stuff that I didn't do during the season, if I didn't pay attention to my children as much as I would like to, or I was on the road for half the month, I made up for that. I made up for that time. You
made it a point.
Not just, my wife needs a break. Our kids were 14 months apart. She hauling around a 2 and a 3 year old. So
a queen.
She hauling around 2 and 3 year old.
And supporting you.
And supporting me and trying to look cute flying.
All of that. That comes with
all of that. And then she decided to go back to school and get her master's and a doctorate. So maybe what I didn't do my part or something might have had to sacrifice when I was playing, but I think I always decided made a point to make up for it when I did have the time, because there is a lot of free time when you're playing. It's just what you're doing with it.
Using it.
It's just what you're doing with it, and what you put a priority on. And sometimes the thing with our free time, what we put a priority on isn't some of the things that we possibly should.
Right. Let's talk about when you were in college. Did you know you were going to be a professional?
No. And I tell you, I think that's why I had so much success.
And that was going to be my next question. Did you ever have to, in your mind, how did you prepare yourself for life after sport? It could have been like if you were in college and you didn't know you were going pro. Did you ever think about what you're going to do post grad?
No. So no. I just try to be really, really good every single day. I try to be really, really good every single day. No.
If you didn't get drafted, what do you think you'd be doing?
If I didn't get drafted, I never got that far. But I'm telling you, the reason why I got drafted, because every day I played the game, I just tried to win. Because look, by the time I got to my sophomore year, it was pretty evident that I was going to be a high draft pick. And that comes with a lot of distractions. Scouts there. Look, I picked up a baseball when I was in college. I mean, these scouts would come out the trees. You hear me? I mean, like, it would literally be in the bullpen. In the bullpen, it would be 20 guys, standing, making their way to the bullpen. I mean, it was really a big buzz around me. No, I mean, the scouts, you wouldn't see a scout the whole game, and like Gomes, warm up to go in the game, and they would flock down there to watch me play, right? So I didn't think about what's going to happen at the draft. I just want to do well. I just, I just want to do well. So when there's a buzz about you getting drafted, obviously there's your phone's blowing up.
I was about to say that comes with a lot of distractions.
Yeah, agents. They can be a handful.
I bet.
And my coach who had a really good relationship. He said, "Look, I want to introduce you to a guy." And I told him, I was like, "Look, man, I'll meet him." I said, "But if he's your guy, he's my guy."
So how did you stay focused? Because in college,
okay, once I said, if he's your guy, he's my guy.
Yeah.
I never answered the phone again. I never answered the phone. I literally did not.
But leading up to that point, how did you stay focused?
Leading up to that point, how I stay focused?
In college, as athletes,
that took everything away from me. That means like the focus from the agents. Like I didn't deal with them.
No. Like your focus period. In college, we're dealing with, if you say every time you picked up a baseball bat, scouts came out, the woodworks for you. But that also comes along with girls and parties and bad decisions and wild nights. How did you stay focused? Because a lot of student athletes struggle with that.
All right. So I wasn't that dude to turn up anyway.
Okay.
I had a good time. But it was never ever gonna put something in jeopardy, like, getting a whole bunch of trouble off the field and flunk out. Like I said, I know I had somebody to answer to. So it all goes back to that. If I don't stay focused and get in trouble like that, I gotta answer to mom and dad. And I do not want that smoke. It wasn't the fact that I didn't want to smoke. I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to burn their money. All of that. So yeah. Did I turn up? Yeah, I turned up. Yeah. But it never
too much.
It never got so far out of hand where it was going to jeopardize me having to deal with mom and dad. Coach, okay. I didn't want to disappoint them either, but nothing like disappointing my mother and father. So that was, in hindsight, that's what it was. Because of never doing, we drank, party, stay out too late.
Not too much, too much. But never too much.
Okay, but it was it just never seemed to be so far out of whack. Well, where you jeopardize having to deal with something really severe.
Do you have any regrets?
Not a whole bunch. I've done some things I like to peel back in my life. Yeah, but not too much, especially on the baseball field. Because I'm telling you, every single day, man, I just wanted
something.
I was like, when my career was over, I was upset because it was over. But I wasn't upset, but like, man, I wish I could have did this different. I never thought that. I never man, if I would have just did this, I would just that never crossed my mind. So I could live with that. That's why it was mentally kind of easier for me than it was for most. I'm like, hey man, you gave it the best. It's time to go.
Right.
It's time to go. Let's move on. Let's keep it. Okay, what's next? Is business is next? We ain't gonna be sitting home. Nah, that can't happen. Because that's just not me.
Right.
Sitting at home. Look, it's just not. When I don't have nothing to do.
Student athletes don't do too well with being idle.
Yeah, I just cannot, not have nothing to do. Give me something to do. You don't got to pay me or nothing. I have to have something to do.
Be active.
I have to have a plan for my day. If you saw my phone, my day looks like today, it's just full. And I wouldn't want to have it any other way.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I can't have it any other way. It has to be something to do.
And I would say that stems from being an athlete.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So to wrap up, we have our sport exposure moment. So sport exposure is all about exposing experiences and our sport stories to essentially leave a blueprint for student athletes. What do you want to expose for our student athletes? It could be good, it could be bad. It's a lot of things about sports that some of us may or may not know unless somebody told us. Mm-hmm. So this moment is for you to maybe drop some gems, give some advice for the student athlete, past, present, and future, on how to navigate this playing field.
Be careful of the relationships you have. And I say the relationships, you never know when you're gonna need the people you're gonna. They say people you meet up, and some people you can come down. Treat people. Here's my motto: treat people like as if they just won the lottery.
Everybody.
Yep. And you might want to invest with them or need something from them or hang with them. You know, I had a kid recently in my program that I've had since I was 8 years old. He came back to work for me, got him in college and came back to work for me. And it ended bad after now he's 22, 21, 22. And he said some couple things slick to me. And I had so much more, even since even though I had him 8, I had so much more opportunities. I could have helped him. But he really messed that up. He really messed that up. And I don't need him. You know, he's going to need me before I need him. And if he had done that to somebody else, he'd have really, really hurt himself. And I'm not going to purposely sabotage his career, you know. But I'm not going to extend any more grace to him. I'm not going to be willing to help him any longer until he tries to make amends with me. But I think he's forgotten what I've done for him. And it really soured our relationship. And if he ever had to use me as a recommendation or put me in a resume, I would really be reluctant. And I could really help him out because he's going to need it at some point, because he's not going to play in the major leagues. His career is going to end. Well, if it wasn't for me, I would have ended 2 years ago. But it's going to end soon. He's going to be looking for employment, and if I probably could have helped him out. But evaluate relationships. You know, you don't have to agree with the person. You know, you don't have to tell me what he wants to hear. Okay, but be respectful of who that person might know.
You never know.
You never know.
You really never know.
You know, and there ain't too many people, very few people in this area that know more people who connects than I do. And I would have extended anything I can to help him. And he's really burned that bridge. And he probably can't build it back. So value relationships. You know, don't be, in the business world, don't be afraid to do the job that somebody else won't do. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Don't be afraid
go above and beyond.
Yeah, don't be afraid to get there early and stay late. All employers like that. That will serve you well. Absolutely. Last one to get there, first one to leave, be on your cell phone is not the recipe for success. It just ain't. It's just not. And I watch this generation of younger people, and the next generation is even worse, of the cell phone and the entitlement of what they have coming to them. I can't see how it's going to work for them. I really can't, but I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Value your relationships, take advantage.
And drink eternal.
It's good for the body.
It's good. I've brushed the bottle.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Make sure you guys are comment, and subscribing to our channel, and we'll see you next time.
All right.